Do you want to discover your power and confidence so you can be seen and heard? Well, you're in luck. My guest today is going to help us unlock that. Stay right where you are. Welcome to How to Get What You Want. This podcast is for driven women ready to claim their goals and navigate their careers with clarity and confidence. Join me as we explore real stories, tools, and strategies to help you steer your career exactly where you want to go. Let's get started on helping you get what you want. Hey, welcome, friend. I am so glad that you made the choice to be here today because you and I together are going to really uncover a real great new friend. Sarah Barnes-Humphrey is with me today, and I'll have her tell you a little bit about her, but we're going to really talk about finding your value. So Sarah, tell us about you and welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here, and congratulations on creating your own space. I think this is awesome. We all make an impact in different ways, and you're doing this through your show. So I appreciate you for having me on the show. So a little bit about my background. So I've been in logistics and supply chain for over 25 years. I went from high school straight into the family business because my dad owned a logistics company, and started off as reception and sort of worked my way through. I did operations for 8 years, sales for 8 years, and I did a lot of courses by correspondence, which is going to date me because now we call them online courses, but this was done by mail. I mean, I don't know if you experienced it. I definitely did it. Which is so funny. And then I ended up as director of sales and marketing. And in 2016, I started a podcast. And I asked a gentleman from my customs department to be my co-host. And tongue in cheek, we called it Two Babes Talk Supply Chain. Because I wanted to see how far we could push the industry because it was so stuffy. Like, it's very male dominated. It was so stuffy. And we got 1,000 downloads overnight one night. So I was like, okay,
wow,
we're on to something.
That's awesome.
People want to listen, you know? Yeah. And then 10 days before my 37th birthday, my dad closed his doors. And I was out on my butt. After 20 years, I lost my co-host. I lost my team.
Wow.
But I had companies paying to come on the show.
Wow.
So I had to learn graphic design, social media, website design, you name it. I had to figure it out. We kept it going. Some of my worst episodes and graphics ever. And then in January 2018, I started the Woman in Supply Chain series. And by April 2018, no women or the organizations they worked for wanted to come on a show called Two Babes Talk Supply Chain.
Why?
I don't know.
Rhetorical.
I mean, to this day, everybody's like, I wish you would have kept the name. And I was like, I don't know if it would have gone the same way.
Yeah.
So in April 2018, I rebranded it to Let's Talk Supply Chain. And for the first 3 years of the business, I worked part-time jobs. I was a receptionist at a tennis club, mopping floors.
Yeah.
I scored men's basketball. I didn't pay myself. I started building the team. In January 2020, I started the Blended podcast because I wanted to do more in inclusion. I have a very blended family, and so I knew it was more than just gender. So for that podcast, the Blended podcast, I bring 5 people from different walks of life together to talk about inclusion in the workplace. And then from there, we turned it into a nonprofit called the Blended Pledge.
When you were going through your story and your dad shut the doors and you were like, so I had to figure all this out, it sounded like you had all of it, you just had to figure it out. But I wonder what was going on in your head during that time, because you sound, when you say that, very confident. I'm just going to figure this out. Just do some odd jobs. But what was going on inside of you?
So many things. It was the worst day of my life because, like, since I was 16, I thought I was going to take over the business. Like, that was my life path. And then everything that I thought was going to happen just crumbled on that particular day. And I watched it all just sort of like, die.
How did you know you were going to be successful?
I did not. I mean, think about it, right? Like, I've got this podcast. Nobody knows really anything about podcasting.
Yeah.
Barely anybody listened to podcasts at the time.
I was going to say 100 or 1,000 in that era was a ton.
It was a lot. It was really a lot, right? But then I was like, I don't know how to make money. I'll be honest with you, at the time, I had 3 or 4 side hustles because I was always about side hustles while I was working to learn different things, learn about different industries, learn about myself, learn about what I wanted to do. So I already had side hustles. So I had about 3 side hustles plus the podcast. And so I kept very busy, within those different side hustles. But no, I had no idea. And I was kind of the mindset, I'm going to try these 4 and I'm going to keep building them like a little bit every day.
Yeah.
And one of them is going to turn out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to know when that is to take that path.
Yeah. It's like having in negotiation, the thing is that your superpower are your options.
Right.
And I feel like so many people that are in a career and they're working for a big company that pays them, and that whole security around that, I'm air quotes, the security around that.
Yeah.
And everybody says to me, I'm just going to figure out what's next for me when that happens. And
Don't do
it's
that.
like, don't do that. And actually, a senior executive, they just did a bunch of downsizing in a big company. And he said to me, I can't believe the people who are still staying, they say, what's next for me? Why aren't they figuring it out? And so I really wanted people, even if you hear your story, if you're listening to Sarah's story and you're like, well, she was already an entrepreneur and she had all these side hustles. Of course, a side hustle could be your full-time job and doing something that's a passion project for you. And that gives you value of what your contribution can be.
Yeah. And I wasn't an entrepreneur. Like my whole career, I wasn't an entrepreneur. I worked for the family business. Of course, I had 2 entrepreneurial parents. And so I watched all of that. But also, since I watched the closing of the doors and everything that could happen as well.
Yeah.
Like it was a huge risk to bet on myself and go out there. But you're right. Options is huge. If you don't have options and you don't have the opportunity to make a choice and have choices, there's going to be risk in everything. So where do you want to spend your risk dollars?
Yeah. And how do you understand, like, if somebody's listening and they're like, but I don't know what my unique value is, or how do you approach that? Like, you really are about advocacy and helping people find their voice. What's the advice do you give to them, or how do you look at that?
Yeah. And I didn't figure that out until I was 43. Like, I just want to put that out there because like everybody thinks we need to have it all sorted out by a certain age. And I think the beauty of being a human and being in this lifetime is that things can evolve and change. And since we're evolving and changing from a technology perspective, we don't actually know what is possible 5 years from now. Right? So I really feel like we do need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. For me, it was all about trying different things to find out what I liked, what I don't like, what I'm good at, and what I'm not good at.
Yeah.
And those are really just, it sounds so simple, but you've got to put yourself out there to do different things to figure all of that out. And at some point, you will figure out how they all intersect into your superpower. So for me, I went with the whole podcasting thing because that was the thing that worked for me. Like the Let's Talk Supply Chain thing worked for me. We were continuing to build it. People wanted it, And then it was sort of like, okay, well, who do I want to be? So I've tied myself to this brand. Who do I want to be now? And that meant, what is my personal brand? Right? And so last year I was at the Lewis House Summit of Greatness and I was in a personal brand workshop. And the guy goes, your personal brand needs to be one word. And I was like, one word? Like, how in the world is that even possible, right? Because I start going through all the things. This is what I do, who I am, blah, 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 blah. So I thought about it for a week. And I get on this red-eye flight home. And it came to me and it was like self-worth. And so I presented it to my team. I think it was like the next day. And they were like, absolutely not. I was like, but why? Why can't it be? And so I started explaining it. And a lot of the things that I hear after we press a stop recording on a blended episode, thank you, I felt seen and heard today. Whenever I have a conversation on the Let's Talk Supply Chain podcast, you made that feel so easy. right? And then
Yeah.
it was sort of like, okay, what is it that I do? Well, I create safe space for conversation.
Yeah.
No matter what I'm doing, if it's a fireside chat, if I'm talking about supply chain, if I'm talking about inclusion, I'm giving the space and allowing people to be authentically them in a way that, people can learn from it. And I certainly learn from it.
Yeah.
On Blended, people call me out all the time because I'll use the wrong word or I'll say the wrong thing. And they'll be like, we need to edit it out. I'm like, absolutely not. I am the
Yeah.
host of the show. It does not mean I know everything about the topic. Right. And so that's how that self-worth thing came to be. And everybody's like, why aren't you a supply chain expert? I'm like, I create safe space for conversation.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to be a supply chain expert.
Yeah. One of the things that you said was, and I want people to really think about this, is finding your joy. I'm facing some health issues right now, and I was meeting with a doctor, and we were just talking about my mental health, and she said, one thing that is just going to sound so simple is look for joy, and think
Mm-hmm.
about yourself as a kid, and what would you do that really brought joy? And so I started thinking
Yeah.
about that. And she goes, and don't overthink it. Like, what did you naturally go to? So when you were talking about really finding that, you figured it out in your head, like you found a word, but then you started observing what people said around us. And I think so
Mm-hmm.
often we're looking for the answer by thinking really hard and figuring it out ourselves.
Yeah.
And it would serve us really well to just take a moment to see what it's like to live outside of ourselves
Yeah.
and see what's coming to you. So I think there's two parts to that: is paying attention to what do you just naturally, where time disappears, where
Mm-hmm.
you just love to spend, a Saturday afternoon that you have no plans.
Right.
But also, like, what do people say? The fact that you make space for others,
Yeah.
and understand, believing it. Like, there's been times where people have said to me, I can just connect in a room.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to like believe that. And then when I had to make the conscious choice to believe it, and then I
Mm-hmm.
stepped into it.
Yeah.
And
I love
so
that.
it's like finding those, and you're right. It took me to my 50s until I figured out my
Like, that's a
superpower.
fun
It takes a
thing.
while.
And I want to acknowledge and appreciate you for sharing that you are going through some of those things. I don't know what it is. I do talk about, so I've struggled with an autoimmune disease, and I talk about that. It's called lipedema in the book, and the mental health struggles that have come with that.
Hmm.
Living with that for, pretty much my whole life, all of the specialists saying some not so fun things that I share in the book,
Yeah.
and then, thinking something is your lot in life and then finding some ways to mitigate, and to really learn about what it is that's going on with my body. And I'm still learning it.
Hmm.
And I think, again, I go back to, that's sort of the human experience, right? In the fact that we have to be open to trying things in a variety of ways, whether it's our
Hmm.
health, whether it's our career, whether it's finding the joy in our personal life.
Yeah. And understanding that, because when you were talking too about finding that confidence and kind of feeling like you're settled in where you're supposed to be, I feel
Hmm.
like the struggles that come before that help you appreciate it more
Yeah. But it
because you,
also takes every day, right? Like
yeah,
some days you're going to feel 100% confident and
yes,
some days you're not.
mm-hmm,
And a lot of times we've been taught to like really berate ourselves
mm-hmm,
into feeling confident
yeah,
because you just should.
yeah. It's almost
And
like
it's okay if you don't.
it's almost like we've defined confidence as either you have it or you don't.
Right.
And it's not true. It ebbs and
No.
flows. And it depends on the high stakes situation that you might be facing.
Hmm.
And it could be the person that makes you nervous. It could be the experience.
Yeah.
It could be so many things. So how do you find your value when you don't feel the confidence? Or do you find the confidence to find your, like, what advice would you give to people?
Yeah, I think it's a matter, well, it's a lot of work, first of all. There's a lot of inner work, I think, that needs to go into awareness. Because
Hmm.
I think awareness is the number one. It's kind of the key,
Yeah.
right? What is it that I bring to the table? What am I in this room right now? What does that look like for me? And if I don't feel like showing up, why did I show up anyways?
Hmm.
Right? Because there are some days, I'll tell you, I've got like 3 podcasts booked and I am not feeling great.
Totally.
Like I just
Yes.
wake up in the morning and I'm like, I am a bag of garbage.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you've got to get on and you've got to talk to people and you've got to create this safe space. And just some days it takes everything in me to get to the end of that day. But I'll do it. And because I have some of that obligation. But part of that comes from having a focus and understanding what you're striving to, understanding who you want to be in the world, understanding the impact that you want to make, and then also making space for rest.
Yeah. And knowing yourself. I mean, the way that equates for me is I feel nervous. People are always amazed that I feel nervous before I go in front of people.
Me
And
too.
it's like, how do you, like, that's so funny to me that they think it's just without any kind of, and there's times where I'm like, I've been working on this keynote for 2 weeks and the music will start to play where I have to walk and I'll be like, I don't want to do this. Like I'll literally like in my head be like, I don't want it. If somebody said you don't have to do it, I would walk away and say, thank
Right?
you. But I don't give myself that, like, I know I have to go through that. It's just, I've learned, okay, there's those emotions again. I have to just continue on because I know the confidence is like waiting for me and
Yeah.
I need to step into it.
Yeah.
And so
And
it's
sometimes you
honing
have to
that.
step into it every time.
Totally. Yes.
Like it's not just going to go away. So I have a fear of public speaking too, and I get nervous every single time. And sometimes actually I get panic attacks on stage.
Wow.
So I've had to learn to live through a panic attack. Like you said,
Yeah.
we have to learn to live through these emotions.
Yeah.
Most people will run away from the emotions rather than sit through a few times so that then you can sit with it.
Yeah.
Right? And so when we talk about some inner work, it's not about saying yes to everything. It's not about saying no to everything. But like you said, it's about saying yes, stepping into the confidence and stepping into it every single time.
Yeah.
You don't do it once and it just goes away. Maybe for some people, sure.
Yeah.
And that's great for them. But some people like you and I have to work our way up to it we'll say yes anyways.
Yeah.
We'll
Totally.
work our way up to
Yeah.
it, have to step into our confidence, and then we start from ground zero,
Yeah.
for the next time.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And they say that we like when we think about goals and things we want to do, we like have this vision of like this euphoria of what it's going to be like, but we don't anticipate the panic, the emotion, and all those things. So when we're there, we're like, what is all this emotion? Like, why do I feel this way? Because you like had put that out there. But to your point, if you anticipate it and you know it's going to happen, then you just know and just have to go every day. I have a good friend that says, just make that answer always yes and figure it out. Even if you're like, I don't know. Or you can even circle back after and be like, okay, I've been thinking about this. This is how I want to do it.
Yeah.
But
Well, and that brings me to another good point because you mentioned keynotes. So a long time ago, I was like, I don't do keynotes. And at first, I had to really understand whether it was me saying no out of fear or me saying no because a keynote, the way that a keynote's supposed to be, does not resonate with me. And I realized that a keynote with a PowerPoint and me up on stage by myself, that's not me. It's not that's not who I am. I'm a conversationalist. I create conversation. And so I have this keynote where I do a workshop and I incorporate the people who have hired me to make sure that we understand people better and we understand stories. And that has worked for me.
yeah.
And so sometimes the things that we have always thought needed to look a certain way
Yeah.
don't actually need to look
No.
a certain way.
No. Totally. And I love this because everything in my world is negotiation. So you're reframing it,
Yes.
You're reframing it for yourself on what works for you. And I want to also say, be careful about what you tell yourself.
Yeah.
How many people do you know that goes, I'm not a public speaker. I'm not a keynoter. I'm not a fill in the blank. We all have them. And guess
Yeah.
what? You're framing that in as your story to others. Like I tell people, pay attention to how you dilute your message, whether it's oh, I'm going to add my 2 cents, but I don't have the experience everybody has, or I'm not technical like everyone else. It sounds so nice that we're being so nice, but then
Mhm.
you're putting that idea out for everybody else to go, oh, she's not technical, or she doesn't, like
Right.
frame out. They don't care. They
Yeah.
want to see your confidence.
Yeah.
So
And
leave it
most people
there. Yeah.
aren't paying that much attention to you
No.
anyways. So the story that you're telling yourself is really a story that you're telling yourself. And then
Yeah.
that spirals into the whole worth and confidence and how many days it takes to get out of that.
Yes.
Because you've started that, not anybody else. I mean, sometimes you'll have
Yeah.
some, feedback from the outside, but then also be careful of who you take advice from
Yeah.
because not everybody's where you want to be.
From what you've said, these are the tips that I think that people should think. And you tell me if you agree and what you'd like to add. I love your one word. Like,
Hmm.
if you're listening to this, what's your one word? What is your differentiator? What's your like passion? Find something, and you're not going to tattoo it on your body. So it could
No.
change. So don't feel like you have to like understand it. And then the second is, what stories are you telling yourself? How are you
Hmm.
diluting your value? And then you just said, like, just say yes.
Yeah.
Don't like let experience guide you. Like, what would
Hmm.
you add? Like, those are things I wish I would have learned earlier.
There's so many
A lot
things.
earlier.
I've been in therapy since I was my early 20s. So, definitely I always say that, if you need it, go and do some therapy, do some
Yeah.
inner work. If you're spiritual or if you're religious, whatever that looks like, have that in your life. But I think also being authentically you. Like, it's too tiring to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
So, who do you want to show up and be in the world? Like, what is the impact that you want to make? And try to stay true to that as much as possible every day. And if you slip, that's fine. Just pick it up tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? It's not really the end of the world.
Just be you. Think about it's so funny to me. Jess Sims is a Peloton instructor, and I
Mhm.
heard her talk the other day about she read somewhere that we are so quick to get frustrated about something that's really little, like
Yes.
the traffic or the barista taking too long or somebody cutting in front of you in the line, that
Mhm.
doesn't really matter. But yet we put such high expectations of what will bring us joy, like
Mhm.
doing a marathon, getting the new job, accomplishing X, Y, and Z. And it's like, how do we bridge that gap better and be a
Mhm.
lot less harsh on ourselves
Yeah.
so we can
Yeah.
appreciate us?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, maybe it's just finding gratitude every day.
Yeah.
What were you grateful for today? And it could be a small thing. It could be like just have a roof over my head,
Yeah.
food on the table. I share an affirmation actually in the book that I use every morning when I walk the dogs.
I love
It's a
it.
little bit long, so I tell everybody to take the different parts that resonate with you and mash it all up into an affirmation that you can sort of tell yourself every morning. Because I think it's just those friendly reminders.
Yeah.
You send somebody else a friendly reminder, we're getting together, friendly reminder, we're doing this, friendly reminder. What are
Yeah.
the friendly reminders that we can tell ourselves?
Love that. Will you share your information with us?
So it's along the lines of like, thank you, God and the universe, for this breath, right?
Mm,
On this day, like this amazing journey on this amazing day. And then it goes into what I'm thankful for. I'm grateful for the roof over our heads, for the food on our plate, the clothes on our back. I talk about money, like money flows in freely and easily. So, give me the strength to be able to do that and stick with that,
mm,
right? And then it goes into, about, I belong in the rooms with greatness. I
mm.
am worthy of greatness,
I love that.
you know? And it talks about the abundance. I'm living in the abundance of this and that. And I am courageous. I am confident, right? I'm making a difference in the world. So just like these, and
Yeah.
that's not the whole thing, but that's a little bit of it. And I end it with, I think it's miracles happen every single day, and that's Tyler Perry. So I brought all of these little things in from different people, and that last one's from Tyler Perry. Just a reminder that you never know what's working for you today and what sort of miracles can show up for you in this moment and today.
Wow. Wow. And I love the idea of using the word miracle.
Yeah.
Like we think of like miracle is somebody that's blind getting their sight, but
Mhm.
a miracle can be whatever you define it to be for you in that
Yeah. And
moment.
magic.
Oh my
Magic
gosh, I
is a
love
really
that.
great word too, right? Because there's so much magic that happens around us every day. But like, do we actually take a moment to be like, oh, wait a second, I'm in the right place at the right time because of this?
Yes. And I love celebrate your greatness. What is your greatness? Like
Yeah.
how awesome to be your best friend.
Hmm.
Like what a gift. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I'm so
Right?
inspired. I can't wait to I'm going to find that affirmation and write it down and start to say it. And like have it. Like I did a TED Talk and I said, put what you love about yourself on an invisible piece of
Love
paper
that.
and just hold it for everybody to see every day. Because that
Hmm.
gives you the energy to believe it yourself. The more we tell ourselves what we want others to
Hmm.
believe, makes us
Yeah.
really feel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And you don't have to love every single part of yourself every single day. I mean, listen, I'm living with this autoimmune, and I can tell you there are days that I am just like, man, I hate my legs
yeah,
because that's what it affects, right? And that's just, today. But tomorrow I might be like, oh, they look great today.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yes, totally. It ebbs and flows, just like your confidence.
Oh, it
Yes, your
absolutely does.
greatness. Well, thank you,
Absolutely.
Sarah, for being here today. I feel like really understanding where you're going, where you are, and really celebrating the value of what you bring and
Oh,
understanding
thank
that is
you.
so powerful. Tell people how to find you and tell us about your book.
Yes, 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 yes. So the book is on Amazon. It's called I Buried Her in a French Press, a memoir about finding my voice and the power of being heard. I promise, if you put in the search bar on Amazon, I Buried Her in a French Press, it's the only thing that comes up.
Awesome. I love it.
Surprise. Yeah, so go and grab it. We got bestseller in two categories. We've had a
Nice.
lot of really great feedback. So I just hope that it can help somebody.
I love it.
I wrote it and didn't think anybody was going to read it, but
Yeah.
I'd be very grateful at the reaction. You can find me on LinkedIn, Sarah Barnes-Humphrey, on Instagram, Sarah Barnes-Humphrey, and sarahbarneshumphrey.com, blendedpledge.org. So if you want to check out the Blended podcast and our nonprofit, we give away grants to cover travel expenses so that diverse voices can say yes to speaking
I
engagements.
love it.
Please head over to blendedpledge.org to find out more about the podcast and the nonprofit.
Awesome. We'll put all of that in the show notes too, so it's easy for people to find you. But it was such a pleasure.
Right.
I look forward to continuing to connect with you as our journeys evolve. On that note, just remember, we're so glad you were here today to listen today, and we'd love to hear from you. You can go to negotiationlove.com to connect with me. But remember that negotiation is more than a skill, it's a mindset. Until next time, I'm Susie. Thanks for being here.